Sales of the biggest unit, the fashion and leather goods units, were down 9%, so slightly worse than expected.
The conglomerate reported a 22% fall in profit during the first half of 2025.
This is the biggest luxury group in the world, so when it falls, investors pay attention.
LVMH's fashion and leather goods division, anchored by Louis Vuitton, is expected to report another quarter of double-digit sales decline when Q2 results hit tomorrow on July 24th, 2025. It's another recording day for me, but the official LVMH reporting for the last quarter has come out, and they are in fact showing a quite significant reduction in sales and revenue. So I want you to go through it with you quickly. So fashion and leather goods sales are down by between 9 and 12% in Q2 of 2025. Brands like Louis Vuitton, Dior and Fendi saw its sharpest drop yet, with revenue at around 9 billion. This decline surpassed analyst expectations, signaling weakened demand among luxury consumers. Overall, organic sales declined 4% in Q2 to 19.5 billion and were down 3% for the first half to $3.8 billion. LVMH also saw weakening across Asia. Japan plunged 28%, while US sales were flat and Europe dipped slightly. Basically, most of their most important sales and revenue indicators are showing a downturn, which although is kind of expected because we are seeing a general cooling across all luxury brands and the luxury industry as a whole, it is quite unusual for LVMH, and I don't think it's the type of reporting that they were anticipating or were prepared for. This downward trend is quite unusual for LVMH, in particular Louis Vuitton, but it seems as though LV have joined the other luxury brands in experiencing sales decline.
Why the drop? Luxury demand in China is slowing. US buyers are spending less, and inflation's making even rich people hesitate.
And so we're halfway through the year now, and I thought it would be interesting for us to discuss, is the luxury fashion industry showing any indications of recovery? Are they going to be slumping forever at this point? Can we anticipate a recovery from these luxury brands? And why brands like Louis Vuitton still seem to be quite intent on straining their relationship with their customers. Hi babes, I'm Taja, mother of twins, lover of luxe things, and your guide for showing up with style and intention. Let's get into it. Recently, the Business of Fashion reported on Louis Vuitton's anticipated Q2 sales decline. In this article, they touch on some of the reasons why this might be happening, including price hikes and the dilution of their brand identity. Chanel did recently report that they were going to be pausing their price hikes, and I did a video on this because I think that this is a good job on Chanel. Well done. This is a good demonstration of Chanel reading the room.
Wait, did Chanel just admit that their bags are too expensive? I guess after years of back-to-back price hikes, the house is actually slowing down.
And for whatever reason, these luxury brands have just been fighting for their lives, okay? Trying to understand social cues. I think that the people are over price hikes. I don't know who needs to tell them, but the people are over price hikes. It's upsetting everyone, guys. It's upsetting everyone, okay? And so, although we have seen customers for years push back against price hikes, at least on social media, you know, you will find tons and tons and tons of videos of potential customers talking about price hikes, talking about how it's putting them off, maybe buying what they want to buy, that the price hikes at some point have been like as high as 16%, maybe into 20% for some brands in some categories.
The biggest problem in fashion right now is pricing. On average, everything is 50% more expensive than it was in 2019. And this applies for every brand. Hermès only goes up. Louis Vuitton only goes up. This is Kering. They own Gucci, Saint Laurent, Balenciaga, Alexander McQueen, Bottega Veneta, all those.
And for the most part, luxury brands have just acted like they can't hear. They can't hear it, or they don't want to hear it, to the point where they have managed to create a storm for themselves where customers are pulling back from spending. I have always been of the mind that if you have a product that some may perceive to be too expensive, it's only too expensive if there's nobody willing to buy.
I don't know why everything is so expensive now. I'll tell you, it's because you people don't stop buying stuff. You're always buying things.
And so I think for a lot of these luxury brands, although there have been rumblings and murmurs of customers or potential customers talking about being unhappy with the price hikes or not enjoying the price hikes, especially when they are oftentimes more than inflation, people were still spending. People were still spending. So it's kind of like, okay, well, you're complaining, but you're still buying. So we're just going to pretend we can't hear or see you. And we're going to keep going. And for some brands like Louis Vuitton or LVMH, they decided to continue to hike their prices. And I definitely think in the last year, we have seen more Louis Vuitton, in particular handbags, that are just so expensive. And what comes to mind immediately is the bag that got released in menswear by Pharrell, the one that was like £100,000.
Just launched as part of Pharrell's first collection, this Speedy features croc leather, a diamond padlock and genuine gold hardware. This is a made-to-order piece and dubbed the Millionaire Speedy because it literally will cost you €1 million.
I think there's like multiple things happening at once, right? So I personally think a lot of these brands look at Hermès and look at their ability to charge so much for their handbags, the brand loyalty that they have with their customers, the aspirational aspect of their brand, and they really want to compete, right? And so I think Chanel has been spending a lot of time trying to compete, and I think Louis Vuitton has been attempting to compete. However, simultaneous to them trying to compete and to maintain the exclusivity, because if you make things really expensive, just less people are going to be able to afford it, right? Which helps to maintain your exclusivity and the aspirational aspect of your brand.
In luxury market, it's really important to increase price till the level where you lose a certain percentage of customers so the market is not oversaturated. Because if too many people suddenly can afford Chanel and you see so many Chanels around, there is a problem.
But meanwhile, their customers are telling them that they're not feeling the vibe. It's not working for them. For many years, I think that feedback has been received by other people and brands as just, the pools are complaining. The ones who can't afford it, the aspirational customer, the more middle class customer, or, the customer that's not really about it but wants to be about it is complaining. And so we don't really care because they're only coming and shopping maybe once or twice a year. So it's not going to make a big dent in us anyway. And so we're just going to keep going the way that we're going.
One thing that people don't really understand is that these luxury brands care about just one specific category of customers. Those who really spend.
Those are the ones that try to make loyal. Those are the ones that they treat differently.
But definitely over the last 5 years, what has been demonstrated is that, one, these brands need the aspirational customer to maintain the level of revenue that they are used to. And also, it's now got to a point where even the highest spenders are pulling back. The most loyal customers, the ones that are in there spending hundreds of thousands of pounds, are now pulling back. And I think that this is because of the luxury brands' stubborn resistance to change. I mean, I might be wrong. If you're a luxury brand or, you work for a luxury brand, you guys can let me know. But they just seem like they don't want to do it.
While Chanel and Hermès continue to pursue this kind of like scarcity model by raising their prices and making the product harder to get, the rest of the luxury brands that are out there are kind of in the middle of a sameness strategy, creating the exact same products. No one's really doing anything innovative, but they're creating cheap products that all look the same and really hoping that there is a volume opportunity there, but the customers are not really buying it.
They're like, I don't want to change tact. I don't want to stop hiking my prices. I don't want to take less profits. I don't want to service this audience that has grown out of social media, that has grown out of some changes in the spread of wealth in society. We don't really want to serve those people.
Designer brands don't care about you. They only care about their top clients. The top 20% of clients, it's easier to cater for them than it is the bottom 80%.
And I think what we are seeing is, one, the consequence of their actions, and two, their hands being forced. Even with the state of the economy and some of the adjustments that are taking place in society and the values that we hold, I don't think that there should be a reason why Louis Vuitton are experiencing a sales decline. I don't think that there should be a reason. Let's be honest, a lot of their bags are not even leather. I own Louis Vuitton, right? So it's no shade, but a lot of their bags are not even leather.
Most of their bags are canvas, but their classic bags, the ones that everyone knows them for, so like the ones with the patterns on, they're actually plastic covered cotton canvas.
So it's just glorified plastic.
And they have been able to create a customer or create an interest in their brand that involves a lot of the time selling canvas, a lot of the time with not like top tier customer service experience, okay? A lot of the times with a bit of attitude from the SA.
Louis Vuitton, count your days, okay? Because you guys have the worst customer service of a luxury brand, honestly, of any brand that I've ever experienced in my life.
The standard for them in particular hasn't been super high in my opinion because Louis Vuitton is such a known name. And so in some ways they've been able to hold the attention of people and make money from people, sell their product without even having to do what you would expect from a brand selling product at that price. And so the articles talks about the ways that Louis Vuitton have managed to alienate their customer base by continuously implementing price hikes, aka not listening to their customer base. And it also speaks about the wide range of products Louis Vuitton has available and how this might be affecting their brand. As in, they have quite a few entry-level products. Like, for example, in the recent Takashi Murakami collection, they had like a notebook that was like £75. So they've got quite entry-level pieces, but then they've also got maybe like luggage pieces that are like £20,000-30,000. And so are they being super clear about the type of customer that they want to attract and who they want spending with their brand? I think a lot of luxury brands are greedy, and I think this is the problem. Okay, now walk with me. I think that we live in capitalism, and so rightly or wrongly, businesses tend to be greedy. They will get out of you what they can, right? And so it is up to us to use our discernment about what we want to spend our money on, how we want to spend our money, what has value for us, and how we choose to interact with brands. I think Louis Vuitton has such a wide range of product because although they don't particularly want to service the more aspirational customer, they are aware that that customer exists. They're aware that customer exists, and they're aware that really they can make a lot of money off that customer, even though in some ways, I don't think they show that customer respect.
Every premium brand has two audiences: the buyers who can afford your products and the aspirational buyers, the people who aspire to buy the products. They're not just dreaming about a product, studying the lifestyle, learning the codes, and becoming fluent in the language of luxury. They often know more about the brand than the actual buyers. This creates a really fascinating ecosystem where the real buyers need the aspirational audience to keep the desirability alive. The secret is that luxury brands don't just sell products, they sell membership to an exclusive club. But exclusivity only works when there's a line at the door.
You've got aspirational customers who want to buy entry-level product because they can't or don't want to spend money on more mid-range, high-range products. So you make products for them to buy, but then that has a knock-on effect on your brand because you also want your brand to be exclusive and you also want your brand to be more aspirational. And I think this is where Hermès has beat them all to the post, right? Hermès has this down. Hermès, I'm sure in many ways, like all businesses, in my opinion, are greedy too. However, they are not so greedy that they are willing to try to please everyone. They have a very specific target audience. They have a very specific customer in mind. Again, I think whether that is right or wrong is a separate conversation to whether it's effective. It's effective. Okay, they have a certain customer that they speak to, they have a certain person that they have in mind or people that they have in mind for their products, and even their more entry-level products are expensive.
Worst thing that I have bought from Hermès so far, it's definitely this scarf hanging system. It was $590.
Very expensive, okay? Very expensive. So you're either about it or you're not with Hermès. And I think brands like Louis Vuitton are trying to kind of walk the balance of, okay, we want people who are high spenders. However, we also understand that we have the attention of a more aspirational customer base that we want to service. And I think that they want to service them even more now because people in general are just spending less. People in general have less disposable income. A lot of us are trying to have enough money to buy the essentials, you know, don't have that much money spare to spend on things that they enjoy. So it does make sense to maybe make a makeup palette or make a notebook or make a pair of socks or make something that you put Louis Vuitton on that you know people will buy. But the knock-on effect then is, are the people that are buying the people that we ultimately want to hold the attention of? They also recently appointed Damien Bertrand as Deputy CEO, who used to work for Laura Piana. The article also outlines the ways in which this new appointment has created some questions around the leadership of the brand and the direction it might be taking moving forward. The coming earnings release will reveal whether this is a temporary dip or a sign of more structural shifts in consumer behavior and brand positioning. But the areas that I definitely will be paying attention to is their approach to pricing. Are Louis Vuitton going to continue to irritate us with price hikes? I'd argue unnecessary price hikes, because what are we doing about the quality? Okay, are they still going to irritate us with that? Will they continue to release more entry-level products, or will they show a bit of restraint and release less of these, or maybe change strategy and not try to compete with Hermès and Chanel as much and stop rising their prices? And will this new deputy CEO appointment affect the direction of the brand? We have seen how much leadership can change the trajectory of these luxury brands. We're definitely seeing it now with Burberry. So I'll be looking out for those things. What do you think about Louis Vuitton LVMH's recent performance? Do you think that they will continue to see a sales decline? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.